Okay, so we're here now with our another one of our Centenary podcasts, and our guests today don't need any introduction to our Dra people around the world. We have Packie Keeney. Packie's joining us from his base over in Lifford there, and we have Patsy out in the Yellow Banks there, Crumlin man. So boys, you're very welcome, boys. Thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Sean.
All right. And as we're just going to have a nonsense of a chat about your time and your experience in the club over the years. And as I say, you go back, like, there may be 1 year difference between the two of you. Would that be right?
Patsy,
we're not going to ask ages now, but we're just,
That's right, John. 6 months.
6 months. These are the same year anyway. So we'll go back really to start way back in the 60s, probably early 60s, maybe late 50s. And Patsy, I'll start with you. Just your first introduction, maybe to coming down to the field, would it have been the National School Parish Leagues back in the late 50s, early 60s?
Had a bit of Parish Leagues, yeah. Down to Kentucky, that's the first time in Parish Leagues. Yeah.
That was a big deal at the time.
Big deal. It was a good thing. Good thing. A lot of good footballers came out of it,
Yeah.
Won a lot of championships after that. Yeah.
That's right. Packie, would you have been involved in that as well, obviously?
We played in the big field there, the half. Meeting the J, you see, I played with, of course, and we had Phil Ward's Curra like for training on, but then we played the matches then in the town and Pierce Memorial. We used the bottom half of it there.
Right.
So Eddie O'Donnell was in charge of us, and Charlie Horsky. Charlie,
right.
Yeah.
Charlie was a great man. He had a wee pickup truck, and he took us away every Sunday, Eddie and himself. And one of the wee Ford pickups, and she was a canvas, closed-in canvas, closed in at the back. It's when you pull across the things at the back. And there was a firm up each side of the wee truck, and the team sat up left and right, and Eddie was usually in the front with Charlie. And so we thought we were heading to
Park.
Exactly. And it was very exciting. We were nervous. I remember too. We were nervous going out, but we had some tough. Well, we took it very serious. It's just remember it now. That's why I always give great credence to young people playing, because they'll remember every detail, until the day of those matches. Dear Patsy, you were the same.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember every incident nearly.
What about Joe Goller's bog hole?
Joe Goller's bog. That was every Sunday. Every Sunday we went over there from 2 o'clock till 7 in the evening, and we kicked.
Where was that? Where was that pitch, lads?
Well, the road splits there when you're going on to Killybegs. We go over meeting the J and the split up Altnagopple and Crooknagopple, and just between the two roads there, that's right. Joe Goller's bog hole.
Yeah.
Did you play up there too, Patsy?
Oh yeah, often. All over.
Who would have been in charge of your team now in the Parish Leagues that time?
Charge of our team?
Aye.
Let's see. John Byrne was a big help down there. John Byrne, the first man to meet us Shanfield.
Is that right?
On quad arrested. First man to meet, and down to his own home, and we talked out there and ran down the path out to Saturday where we're going. I remember that all. John Byrne, the first man to meet us Shanfield. Yeah.
Great club man, John. Great club man, John.
We had Crow Park as well, John. Crow Park up there. You know where the caravan park is now up there, Quins?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
On the other side of the road there, the boys used to play on a Sunday, and we were up on different times. And it was, of course, it was CROKE, Croak.
I know, of course, yeah.
CROIGH.
Packie, what about Keeney's town?
That was another one. I would think it wasn't the popular Joe Goller's bog hole now, but it was still played, you see. They all gathered there on the Sunday and played. I remember Packie McGuire and Sean Gildea and Patsy Gildea and everybody coming down there to the bog hole on a Sunday, playing the whole day. There were different. There were fellas would come for a couple of hours and leave, and then somebody else would arrive, But we were young fellas, kind of locally, and so we stayed there the whole day. With a great time kicking in and catching.
Yeah. Your brother John would have been very, very involved that time, Packie. John would have been one of the main instigators behind that Parish League, from what we know.
John was into that sort of thing. John used to run these sports in Glendone, among the families there. And there was a record of all that in our house. Unfortunately, it got lost with the change in the houses at the time. And I used to keep a record of the high jump and the races and the long jump and everything in there. And that must have led on to the idea then of running a parish league. So
Yes.
John started that parish league at the time, and it was a great foresight, to get that up and running, because we had nothing really other than that,
Oh.
And it was probably ahead of his time at the time, Packie. Really, there was nobody else doing it.
No, that's true. He had great foresight, and then at one stage as well, he set out and he had the home bought of John Byrne there, the hotel, like where the distillery's gone up now.
Yes.
He had that bought for GA Field, but then unfortunately the support wasn't there to complete the job. At that time, the Pierce Memorial was in trouble, like it was later years, and then as well as that, it was a wee bit out of the towns, and this was a great asset, But John had great foresight. There's no doubt about that, And then they had there was a man from Derry. John, would you remember his name? He apparently came in to Ard at that time. He was coaching young lads, and he's mentioned in the book now.
Was that Sean Young, Packie? Would it have been?
Oh, not Sean Young.
Not Sean Young, no.
Prior to that again.
All right, okay, right.
It wasn't Jim Faulkner.
Jim Faulkner, I think that's the man now. He apparently did a lot of great work in Ardra in the early years. And then we had a tie-up with Derry, Patsy. Do you remember we played Derry?
Yeah, that's right.
Under 14s, we played them, and that was a big day in the Pierce Memorial.
Right, yeah.
It was a very good sunny day for the Derry boys to come up. And then we responded. We went back down to Celtic Park another Sunday, but it rained the whole way up and down and during the game and all the rest of it. But that was a big expedition, like, for us at that time.
Right. Full bus load.
And there was
All bus load.
There was a man there lately. I was talking to him, and actually it was through Twitter. It was a lad I played on that day called Jim Hooton, Jim Hooton, and he has a son there now, George. He's a singer in Derry, And I was asking him, did his father play Gaelic football and that, and did he know of it? And he said he did. He had asked him, So that young team, it was a great tie up with Derry, like, in those days, and then we kind of lost it, but it was amazing. Celtic Park wasn't done up or anything, because I remember playing that day, and there was a big brown spot, gravel actually, and the ball had it in. The ball bounced 3 or 4 times, and it bounced over the goalie's head.
Okay, right, very good.
I don't know. I think we lost that game. Maybe we won the one in Ardra, but anyway, it was.
It was a big deal to go to Derry at that stage to play football.
It was a big deal. We had one funny incident. My father and Wee Diver. Remember Wee Diver? You remember Wee Diver, Patsy?
Jimmy Diver, right? Yeah.
Daddy had had off to in Derry, to see could they get into a pub.
I remember Jimmy as a young fellow myself. I remember Jimmy Diver myself. Just a very young lad.
The two we were watching. The two went up to this pub anyhow, and there were no time there, kind of hanging around to see what the door opened or was bidding. Then RUC came along to question them as to what they were doing. The pubs didn't open in Derry at all.
Oh, this is right. That was a Sunday.
That put the end of the pub.
That was the end of the pub. Patsy, that kind of episode with the parish leagues now would have been a big reason in the winning of the first schoolboy championship in '62. Do you remember much about that time?
Oh, do surely, yeah. Oh, John Keeney and Fonzie and John Byrne, them boys all looked after us at him, But it was a good players came with that parish league. Every corner of the parish was covered.
That's right.
Every corner of their own team. Meeting the Jay, Meath Valley, McConnell, upper end of the town, lower end of the town, go up in the Card, down Strand. Everything was covered. And a lot of good footballers are the best.
There was starting like the McDillises. I remember we played Meath Valley one time. Matt and Eamon and Peter Oliver were lethal,
Yeah.
There were no handling them like the schoolboys. They were deadly. And then Hughie Gavigan and John Gavigan, and Hughie Packie and John Gavigan from the McConnell. Big Patsy, where'd Big Patsy go? Big Red Patsy, wasn't it? Played for the town.
Patsy Goller, was it?
Patsy Goller, wasn't it?
Patsy who?
He was Red Patsy. He played on one of the teams. He was the biggest man in the whole parish. Like that team on that team.
That'd
None
be
of us could handle him. Was he playing
that'd
on
be
the
my
Kelly
cousin.
team?
That'd be my cousin Patsy Johnny Neal, for say.
Aye, that's right. He was cousin of yours. Aye.
That's right. So Patsy, God rest, Patsy's dead. I must be dead a good couple of years now in England. Dead a young man.
God.
Aye, yeah.
So he was a big man, and there's a good.
Oh, big man, fine man, big red-haired man. Yes, right. Yeah.
Aye, that's right. I must. You see them like
He
a
was,
Patsy.
he was a brother Cormac's.
Other Cormac's. Aye.
Yeah, another good footballer. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They were all first cousins of yours, Patsy.
That's right. Yeah. Hold on.
Cormac was a good operator too. Aye.
Yeah.
Patsy was strong.
That was obviously it was a huge thing at the time, and as a team that's often talked about, the 1962 schoolboy team, and then what went on then obviously in '64 to win the juvenile championship.
Aye, that's
Do
right.
you remember that? Who did you beat in that final? Can you remember?
Oh, that's interesting now.
Was it Drumbar?
Aye, I think so. It's just about.
I think you might be right.
Aye, yeah.
Seamus Bonner, God rest was playing.
Was he?
Paddy Brogan, Paddy Brogan, Seamus Bonner.
Yeah.
Drumbar. The bit Clonmany on the 14 final doing the Kenny.
Yeah.
Yes.
That wasn't until the January '63. There was some kind of rumpert and that happened. The bit them 13 no
Yeah, that's right. And would there been a big fuss coming back after that on the 14 match, Patsy?
Big cavalcade to town, and they got a bit of a grub and the saddlers, orange runners. Nice salads. It's good. That's it. The couple we felt was water and stuff like that, you know. Oh, no drink on the cup, all manners and all that.
Oh, did you know? Yeah.
Great memories, great memories. Yeah.
Packie, you were a bit like Peter Pan at that time, where you were overage for the 14 62, but you were overage for you were underage for the 16 and 64. Can you explain that one?
I'll blame John and Charlie Bennett, God rest them, for that.
It was a common practice that time. Packie, you were only a couple of days overage. Was that the story?
2 days, you see. So that was a bit of a crime like for a man, only 2 days.
I know. It's
not to be playing.
Packie qualified for the minors in '65, you see.
That's right.
He was only young for that, you know.
That's right. He was legit that time in '65. He was safe enough in '65.
I had won the minor championship with Gildea before that.
What year was that? '62, was it, Packie?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I played the semi-final. See, I was working Glendea's that time. Lord Charlie played a bit with Glendea's in them days because he was working at Keeney's place. And then I was over to school there and was working there as well. So there wasn't much happening about Ard and at that time in that minor. So I played the semi-final, but then I wasn't on for the final. I think that was Donegal Town, but Glendea's won that minor final.
Johnny D would have been on that team too. Johnny D Early was in that team.
Aye, that's right.
Would Pat Connor have been on that team? Pat?
I would, with that age, you see. We're good. We're good.
Sorry.
Minor team, you know.
We had 3 Glendies won in '65.
That's right, that's it.
Daniel McGinn, a very good goalie, and Joey Byrne.
And was it one of McSwiggins, Patsy?
No, Miguel.
No. Was one of the McSwiggins as well on that team?
No.
Probably Frank, I think.
But it wasn't our '65 team.
Oh no, no, he would be.
No, Benny Miguel, Joey Byrne, and Daniel McGinn.
That's right.
3 great footballers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. There's great stories about that day. That was a big victory at the time. This minor championship obviously was huge, and it was probably the first one since '54. Since that team, they won championships in '52 and '54. But obviously, the big story of that day was the handling afterwards and the Botall. When both teams were changing. Can you remember much about that?
I would remember. Patsy probably remember even more, but I remember anyhow the both teams talked out in the Botall. That was an amazing thing. They put Gildea and Ard on one side, on each side of the hall, you know. And then the chairs were all piled up, you see, in the corner too, like to make room for us to get in. And there's a tough match all the way through. There was I got my nose broken that day, and I had taken McGinley. But when you won the match, like it was 19 years later before we got it fixed.
Well, I got 7 teeth broke that day.
Did you, Patsy?
Yeah.
Aye.
I was going through soul and somebody took me and somebody else met me and put the head in the jaw.
Aye.
I mean, Tommy Tom looked me up and was spitting about. I was like, you didn't go off. You'd be ashamed to go off.
Well, you should have go off in the place. You wouldn't, but you get on that you were hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What was the handling afterwards? I heard stories about Colin Gillespie and a mighty man at the time. There was a bit of scrapping going on going up the stairs.
Oh,
Colin was very good. Strong man. He put in the back one by one of the first out like that. And up was anything.
They were big fists. Joe Larry was. We needed a couple of good men that day. I'll tell you, something it was. We were at corner because the chair started to fly. The chair started to fly from the corner over on top of us, and there were some chairs broken. And I think most clubs were fined at the county board meeting about it and had to pay someone towards the repair of the chairs too.
Right, yeah.
Well, I was saying that there were packed one of them chairs out in our house in Crumlin yet.
A souvenir, Patsy.
Somebody here, you got home, packed one of the chairs in the foot hall. I still out in our house.
You get money for that one now, Patsy.
Well, that'll be worth it. We'll have to put that in display, Patsy, out here when we get all these
I think
together.
Colin is all that in case anybody breaks into the house.
Oh,
Is that right?
what whole chair?
When you're on about 65, there obviously the junior team reached the county junior final that year, which probably was a big step at the time. We're beaten by a point, I think, by 4 Masters.
Oh, that was a real disappointment. I hate games where you get beaten by a point because you play that point over and over and over in your head for years afterwards. And I wondered if you went on taking a point or could you got a point or we just had a low that day, really. Missed short frees and everything. But we had it was a day 4 Masters. That's the match. Our Michael came home from Birmingham. You see, myself and James and Michael were playing on that team together, the 3 brothers. And but Michael was playing on PJ Flood. PJ scored 3 points, Michael scored 3 points. It was a great competition between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
But we didn't. It was a very windy day in Ballyshannon, Patsy, if you remember.
That's right, yeah. I was a sub that day, but you know.
If we should have been on, maybe that would have made a difference.
You'd be only 17 at the time, probably, Patsy, but it's still out enough.
I might have had the grass on to be kicked black. Wouldn't you get on?
Good to know.
I would say that because we were missing such easy stuff. And
we're still a good team. We're still a good team, you know. A lot of good players are.
Yeah.
Your Michael was, by all accounts, a fantastic player, Packie.
Oh, Michael was fantastic. Like he'd be by far the best player in our family, to be honest. And that's Keeney would tell you.
That's a brave statement.
Yeah, he was in a different class, you know. He would do the most unique things. Himself and Peter Oliver. Now, Peter Oliver had to get his place in the county team too, the time he should have, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Peter Oliver do stuff that you wouldn't think of, you know.
Yeah.
Just some amazing scores and amazing. And Michael was the very same. He would do some wild stuff during matches, you know, fielding or stopping a ball going wide to keep it in play, or he could dive, or he would do the main. But he was a great fielder. Even James and him will tell you, like James says he played midfield one day with him, and all he remembers is the white togs passing up by his head. He was like high above him, you know.
And I heard a lot of stories about Michael. Now, see, he went away to England young and was in Manchester, he's still in England. He keeps in touch with us there. We do see him on Facebook and that kind of stuff. It's good to see him interacting with the club there.
I'm 69 years or 59 years married there. The other day, just himself and Nancy.
Very good. Very good.
I don't know. You see, he played Monaghan. He played against Monaghan in the Ulster Championship, and I think he was knocked out then. And he went away to England that time. He wasn't. I doubt if he was 18. You know.
Yeah.
And he's there since.
That following on from that, the junior, we were obviously still junior at that stage. In 1966, saw the combination was at St. Pat's. We would have said they would have played in the senior championship that year.
That's right. We had St. Pat's, and we had St. Pat's was a combination of Ardra, Kilcar, and Killybegs. And it just shows you the British senior team we had to have those three clubs involved. And when you think not too many later years, John, the All Ireland was won in that area. You may as well.
That's right. Yeah, 92.
Glen had a team, all right.
Right.
But it was amazing that how things had come on. But I think it had come on because we had got St. Joseph's out of the reckoning.
The equation, yeah.
They were dominating, and they were keeping those clubs from developing. And it was a great experience that because we had a good selection of Ardra, Edward O'Donnell and Conan Bond and John and all that, myself from Clumber and John Joe. We travelled from Dublin regularly down for those matches. And then we had the great Des Houlihan, which was terrific, and a couple of good Killybegs footballers there, and then Kilcar, Charlie Brady. It was a good combination. Charlie O'Donnell has done great articles on Des Houlihan now. He's combined two big A4 folders, which I had the pleasure of reading there over the last few weeks.
Right.
And he has combined every match report that Des has been involved in from the minute he started playing football and hurling. And he
was a fantastic athlete. If we want to hear Des Houlihan.
He was a good athlete, won Ulster Championship Junior hurling with Donegal, and also lost one because he was injured at a time. And then he played in all the big matches with Sean Ferder and John Hannigan and Flood, and he was involved in all that for Donegal. And he was killed. He played with Kilcar that time. And he later, of course, when Killybegs reformed, he moved there, But it was very sad how he died in New York from a brain tumor, I think it was, and then his brother Ivan, who played with us as well a few of them games, he died similarly, only about 2 years later,
But I was a fine young fella, big strong lad, Ivor.
Big lad, wasn't
lovely footballer.
Aye, they were great sportsmen.
Patsy, would you have played hurling with them boys too?
I played hurling in Killybegs in the middle of the 60s,
Did you?
Yeah. And I played county minor hurling as well.
Did you?
In the championship, 66,
Who would have been behind that, Patsy? Who would have been first on the hurling at that stage? It was probably Killybegs school, was it?
No, the teacher in a rogue school, he was Dennis Craven, he was in Galway. He got the hurling going in the school, and then all these boys going to Killybegs. Don McMullen and Tom Purcell was a manager in Errigal. He was the big man, Tipperary. He was a bit hurler on again.
Yeah.
And Des Houlihan and all. But not very county, Dennis Carberry.
Dennis Carberry, right.
Yeah.
Hurling men first, probably. There were hurling men, obviously.
That's right.
Passed it on.
It was good crack. You made plenty of friends there, but
there would be a type of a scalping, Patsy, probably.
well, there'd be no skate here and there. I have a nice white down the middle of my head here. No helmet or nothing. But you wouldn't worry about it.
I know it's really.
I only played one hurling match in my life. It was played in Drumbar. I was in Donegal town at the time. We played a match in Drumbar. Remember that slopey field?
That's right.
They play soccer there. They play soccer there still. Actually, that's what the Drumbar soccer team play at the moment. That's right.
You can't mention soccer on this program, Joe.
Oh, that's right. No, you can suspend it here.
I never played it.
Just when you're on that, Patsy, obviously most men kind of played it on the QT that time. It would have been a serious issue at the time.
Well, it was, but I was taken up before the county board in '69.
Right.
God rest Frank Muldoon, PG Ryan, and Hugh Daly. Up that we were telling Donegal town. Sitting with one to the 3 boys there. We were playing soccer in front of her, but they couldn't. Nearly got me off anyway. Nearly didn't let her.
I had to get you off there another time. There was another hearing in Balbuffet in Jackson's Hotel.
What's your Packie?
There was another hearing in Jackson's Hotel. I had to go down and defend you.
What was that about, Packie?
Oh, this Carrie Rangers boys that
All right.
They were for suspension again, but
Aye.
I
That
had,
was,
I had to go down and make a defence, get them off. Second time.
that you know, John, from September, October, you hadn't a game to Patrick's Day.
Surely.
And you wanted to play something. I wanted to play something.
Of course.
You know.
Oh yeah, that's what happened. You know, Sean O'Donnell always said that when that great Donegal team that he played on, you see, they scrapped all the club football during that period.
Yes.
He says the Donegal League is formed as first division. One of those years that was scrapped, he says, and then it was scrapped again the next year, and the second Donegal second division was formed.
The Donegal Soccer League, Patsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three soccer divisions formed out of the inactivity of the GAA at the time, Sean. That's why we started the Finn Valley League down here, so there would be football during the winter. And so they said they were away playing for the county team. It was great, but they says sure, Ben and all the other great players down there, but the Rosses and Gildea particularly, they had nothing. So somebody came along and says, "Boys, will we give a soccer on? We just play."
Yeah.
Sure to God, yeah.
Then when the ban was lifted in 71, that was, you know,
well,
the
That was the end of that.
The Donegal League then started in 72, because I played with Duncan in the first Donegal League.
yeah,
You know,
that's right.
obviously you got to know people in every town. You have plenty of friends.
That's for sure, yeah. Yeah, it was a kind of a ridiculous rule at the time, obviously, but it was a sign of the times.
Well, the thing about we voted at the time against retaining the ban, you know, so we'd kind of seen how farcical it was. The boys couldn't play, but 1870, wasn't it? It was done away with. The year I was chairman, I think it was.
Yeah, 70, 71.
Done away with that. Some people weren't happy, but generally the GA nationally said, look, you know, everybody vote, and every county will be bringing the result into Congress. There'll be no vote at Congress really, in a sense, just that if everybody's, if there's majorities for doing away with it. And that's what happened. There's Pat Fanning from Waterford, I think, was the president, and it was all over in 5 minutes. There was no row about it.
That was at Congress in Belfast, Easter 71.
Oh, is that where it was, Patsy?
That's when I looked at it. I always remember
You
that.
Never forget it, Patsy. You were waiting for it, Patsy.
I was a free man then.
You were a free man then. I was like, it worse than interment at the time.
We lost some good county games. Apparently we had a minor team in Ulster at one time, and team with Jackie Riley, and the boys were on top of their game, and they were suspended before
For playing soccer.
For playing soccer, and Sean O'Donnell and them were under pressure too at different times, you know.
Around that time, obviously, there was obviously things were going well enough at that time for us. The junior championship '67, like there was a big one, obviously, and another one there in 1970. They were big achievements at the time, because with obviously with St. Joseph's dominating senior football, the standard of junior would be fairly high.
Aye, yeah.
And the junior in '67 was very good. Now they won it, you know.
Aye.
The bit Packie's home club there, Conway in the final.
And
his two future brother-in-laws were playing, Ambrose and Seamus Gibbon.
Oh,
You know?
very good, right?
He met the way. That's what Cassie noticed Packie that day.
yeah,
That's that.
Very good. Well, at least there were two victories that day, so that's it.
Well, it was a good tough game too. It came out the right end.
That was the day that I enjoyed. I was coming out the side, and there was this woman from Convoy. She started battering me over the head with an umbrella, and I couldn't. You know the wee side gate there at Owen Park. Then you know it was only narrow, like, and you had to duck down to go out onto the wire. You know, when I was ducked down, they got there, I got the batter right across the back of the head. I didn't. I thought I do 3 or 4 slaps. I couldn't believe what's this all about. And I looked round, and the woman was battering with God. Francie never moved in, and I could still see him, Francie breaking the umbrella across his knee. And that finished the battering.
Patsy, I often heard you say that was maybe the best side of that team you ever played on.
67 team. No,
70 team, was it?
70 was a brilliant team. Must say 67 was a good team too, but 70 was a very good team. You know,
70 was class. The semi-final, like it was Was it Finther? Did we play that in Finther, or was that the league?
It has a league.
Oh no, we played the. I played the final in McCool Park. That's right. But we had a league final. Was an exhibition. And Finther, yourself and Cahill and Peter Oliver in the half forward line. They made the semi final against Donegal, was it?
That's right. Yeah.
Usually that was the best performance I've ever seen Ard turning out.
The first game against Bundoran was 1970. That was a draw. Then we won the league.
First game was a draw.
And nobody gave us a hope. Nobody gave us a hope. Complete outsiders.
But that Bundoran team would have been star-studded at the time. Fairness, it would have been half of the St. Joseph's team.
Well, surely I was playing with Peter Quinn that day. He was centre half forward for the county, and then McConnell was there, Shimmy Brennan was there, and Michael Patton Daly, and there was
Brennan Dowling and Declan O'Carroll.
Aye, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the day. It was like the day that Joe Larry says we beat the Ulster team.
That's right.
we beat
the Railway Cup team.
The Railway Cup team. That was in Banfield. That's the day you got concussed, Patsy.
Yeah.
Your man Thomas Quinn, he couldn't handle you at all. You were turning him inside out, and of course you ended up being concussed.
Didn't do me no harm.
That was an idea. That was a great victory. It was worth it to hear Joe Larry say, "God bless." He's beat the Railway Cup team, boys. Ulster team there. He was going around.
But around that time, boys, obviously, the county situation would have been a hot potato or a sore point in our draft. With the amount of good players that we had at the time, it would have been felt at the time that they weren't getting a fair deal. Patsy, what would you answer? You were one of the best forwards in the county at the time, by all accounts. It was a talking point, I think, around the place.
I was a sub for long days. I went up in Sligo one day, I subbed the whole game, never got on. And then down in Ballinafay, the National League, down in Ballinafay then, and Cahill was player, right? I was a sub. Half time, he said to me, "You're going on now." I asked, "Who's coming off?" "Cahill." "Well, I'm not going on." But they never put the who was on the one time.
No.
Really? Yeah.
So Cahill was singing off, and somebody got injured, and I went on for the last 10 minutes.
Aye.
And I stood chatting, tearing, Brennan of Leash.
Yeah.
And I told them after the game, never send for me again.
Aye.
That was it.
Aye.
But you wouldn't want it.
You would have got the same treatment, and obviously, you mentioned the game at under 21 level. You got mentioned where you started the match, and you didn't even make the panel the following day.
No, it was I played on the 21, and I got picked. Vinny McHugh was a selector. It was funny, got me selected for that. We had a selector for a year or so, and I remember we played Derry and Ballinafay. Malik McAfee was full back now. Being full forward, I was playing midfield. Against PJ Flood and Eddie Gatter. They were kind of county midfielders at that time. Myself and Edward played against them. We beat them, and Sandfield as well. But then, you get your place at for playing midfield, and then you end up at full forward.
Really good, yeah.
But there was trials and stuff I didn't get. But in fairness to McConnell, the time I wanted to play county, we ended up then playing music, Peter Oliver and myself, and I was at a dinner dance in Donegal town one night in the centre, and McConnell came up to me and he said, "I'm looking for a centre half." He says, "Would you come on to the panel?" And at that stage, what I was looking at, I was playing music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we had bookings a year ahead,
Yes, of course.
And, I would.
Packie got a raw deal too.
Packie
the best centre half in the country for years. Okay. I often said that he should be the next man after Flood, centre half of the country.
Yeah, well, fairness to McConnell, he did offer me to come in that time, but then how are you going to be playing? How are you going to give your best on a Sunday? Then I thought,
Saturday night. Yeah.
Peter
Oliver's the same position probably as well.
Peter was the same position then at that stage, but Peter was on that 72 team that was in Cole Park, and he should have been play earlier, much earlier than that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was outstanding. And but then I couldn't consider it because I used to look at Andy Curran sleeping on the bags down here in Lifford. Andy's driving the mail lorry out of Lifford, you know, and Andy used to have to sleep down there and then get out in the middle of the night with the mail. And still turn out for the county. Like, he was remarkable footballer, Andy. So that if I had to get that opportunity in the previous 5 years when I was training and everything and trying to get my place, I would have taken the arm off McConnell, but it was too late.
Time was wrong, Packie.
The name was wrong. You know.
Yeah.
The 70, Packie, you were obviously you were chairman of the club in '71 for the 50th anniversary. And Patsy, you were a former club treasurer yourself. Things were a bit different that time. It wasn't as easy, and there was no lottos or anything like that at the time. It would have been a hard job to keep the club going.
The one football, and you either going up in Woody Bonds or you go in Divers. The one football.
One football, you're right.
Down the field, kicking in and out, and if you couldn't catch the ball, you'd know and down. That's the way it was.
Somebody was in charge of the football or somebody, and that was.
It's a far cry from nowadays.
There's about 100 down there now, and you go out.
I was working in Glenties at the time, and then that was 1969, you see, and then this vacancy came up in Lifford, and they sent me down to fill the vacancy for this man that was retiring, and I ended up in Lifford and being chairman of the Ard club, and I was travelling up to all the meetings, you know, and it was difficult, and it meant that we weren't around really to be doing enough. You know, it needed a lot of attention them days, like. So I was chairman. Surely it was just great, like, and we had the presentation and all to the old county footballers and all that sort of thing.
Of course, yeah.
It was a great honour, you know. But I had to really consider my position then, because I had taken up a position then in Lifford at about April or May that year. It was
possible to combine the two, Packie.
It wasn't going to work, you know.
Oh, one of was scarce, that too, mind you.
Oh, did it was?
Charlie, when you said if we were the front of the one to take any bags, we had no football, and I had no soccer ball in about different colours, and that's the ball we had. With no football, just shows you.
Yeah.
No. I suppose if there's not 20 at a session now, there's they're giving out.
Well, you happen to fight for the ball now. You see that.
Well, funny, Charlie Tully. I used to work with Charlie Tully, a good friend of mine in the SPE. He says, you know, we could all learn it. We could all catch the ball, because if you weren't able to catch it, you had no wearing down. Just as you were saying there, Patsy. There's the period after the junior championship in the 70s. There was a bit of a lull then for a number of years then, probably. Packie, you would have went on, obviously, and you kind of moved on to Lifford then eventually. But Patsy, you had to pull Packie out of a spot one day with Anglia Estate. Can you remember that?
Well, I done an ambulance run from Morris with Packie on the back of an Anglia Estate. Packie got a bad break in the leg. I went to the back of the Anglia Estate, but down the streets, Packie propped up again, singing 2 legs, nothing straight. Where did we go to the doctor, Packie? Montana, was it?
We stopped in Buchanan for the doctor, and then we headed on. And he wasn't too happy with it anyhow, but I didn't want to go to Letterkenny Hospital because my wife was in Ardra. I had gone to Ardra first, and then went travel Doras then for the match. And about 4 minutes to go, there was a clash, and PJ Hanlon, I was totally accidental. Like, I was trying to clear the ball away with my left foot coming in from the left, you know, and he was pulling on it to shoot. Others were beating us for the first time, and that wasn't going down too well with me. But anyway, I heard the bang, and that was set. And you took me to Cron Kieran, and
that's right, Packie. Yeah.
And you in the back of the ambulance. The car.
One thing was must with the blue light.
I hobbled in on one leg into the house. I stayed the night, and the pain was getting heavy during the night. So stayed down then to Lifford in the morning to Dr. Coyne, and he says, "Boy, you're for Letterkenny. You need a plaster on that. He knew it was broken straight away." So the worst of it that time was I was after just finishing the house here. I had only one door on it, like, and I was laid up here because I was doing all the work myself and all the woodwork, and I was lying up here, and the money was all gone.
There was no players' injury insurance either, Packie.
No, there was not. No,
No,
there was nothing. But,
no money for the emergency service either.
no, that's
indeed,
right.
no,
You
that's
never
right.
got your fee, Patsy.
Oh no, that Patsy was an out doc that time.
£100 bill out to you now, straight from Keeney.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
No,
no.
they're different times. Different. It was everyone was playing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, you wouldn't change anything really at that.
No.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, as you say, Patsy, the friendship that you make and the feel that you get for the whole county. Like it was terrific. Like the different teams, you get to know the people, you get to know your own people, and
That's right.
I found it a good advantage to me because I was working all over the county as well.
Mhm.
Had a good feel for people, and
That's right. No matter where you go, you know somebody, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
As the 70s went on, then boys, we started to get a bit stronger probably after 75, 76. And I remember as a young fella, I think it was the same day we won on the 14 championship. The day Andy Malloy and Jeremy Ellis, that team, the one that beat St. Eunan's in the final that year in 76. I think Kelly Beggs would have beat us in the junior semi-final that year, Patsy. You remember that?
Right.
I think it was a replay. They beat us a replay in Gildea the following week, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
We had a strong team that time, but as I say, that team went on for a lot of them to win a senior championship eventually.
We won then our first Donegal Guilt in 77 and beat Kilcar and Glen. And we won Donegal Guilt in 79 and 80. And we won 2 senior shields. The first 2 came out. That was a big help for, make the break 2 in 81,
That's right. The senior shield was a huge thing at the time, and I know people say when they mention the word shield now, it's kind of a dirty word, but it was it was a really expensive trophy at the time, and all the good teams were at full strength. And I remember it well as a young man. It was a really big deal at the time to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the great thing about that, John, as I was saying the day before. The only games we got for the whole year with Ard was 9 in the league and 2 in the championship. So you don't develop much in playing football with 11 games for the whole year. And that that shield was a great asset because it gave more games, and that was, I think, the thinking behind at the time.
That's right.
It was taken very serious. So it was taken serious.
It was a big deal at the time. There was huge crowds at them games. I remember the finals and them games. There was huge crowds at them,
Yeah.
I remember sorry, John. I was at a game in Centenary. Now I wasn't involved at that stage then. I was kind of out of the scene, but I was at this game in Centenary, and that was I could see a new excitement starting in Ard the time that the Malloy brothers came in, and Anthony and Anthony and all those.
That's right. Yeah, Connie and Anthony and Frank.
Aye, there was excitement starting to brew within the whole team, and I think it went forward from there. Then I think to where you said it got to, with the championships win and all that.
Yeah, they were a good family to the Malloys. I can the Martin was hard to beat.
Hard to beat is right.
Okay, no better man, boy. Yeah.
The 90 obviously with a cracking team that time. I remember being a young fella down throwing balls back in over the ditch, but the Kilcar match, the final in Kilcar in 1980 was probably a lot of teams say you have to lose 1 to win one, but that was a big disappointment at the time because we were raging hot favourites that day, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, that's right. I had a big disappointment. Didn't get going the day right. That's the whole thing. Josie Goddard got rest and got injured early on. He would fall back, and it upset the whole thing,
That was the day that Martin McHugh came on the scene.
I did die. I met McHugh and Michael Carr, mighty footballers,
So they were.
I scored 10 points that day, Martin. Yeah,
that's right. But we came back the following year, then won it, and so that's the way it was.
Yeah. So you were badly trouble with injuries that time, when you got the shout for the you weren't really able to play it, but you got the shout for the final. Can you explain that one?
Well, I was at about I got the ankle broke. You had to go to a bone, and I was playing away. I had 3 bandages on. I was still playing with a broken ankle. But I came on against Kilcar in the semi-final. We beat them. They were the county champions of it.
That's
So
right.
then that's a nice thing to have, you know.
That's right. That's right.
And then Patsy Harkin, I'm going to win his honeymoon. And Charlie, when he said, "Will you get the goals?" I said, "I'll go anywhere at all. I wouldn't mind." So I played in goals. Had an easy day. Had a good defence in one today. Good fullback, Martin Sweeney, and didn't have much in the area altogether, you know.
No, that's right. That's right.
But it's good to get a championship medal at the end of the day, you know.
And great to be playing on the team at the time when you were carrying an injury. It was great to get on the team at the time. It was bad luck for Patsy, obviously, but just one of them things. It's just timing.
After that final, then I would after the Galvin hospital with a bone out of the leg.
Did you?
And he told me the next thing, the gangrene, it was black, bone of an ankle. And I played for 3 years with it. That broken.
You came back then. You won a junior B championship in '87. I mean, it was part of that panel. We said you were coming on and kicking over scores whenever the pressure was on. That was against your man Packie Lifford, obviously. That's you were probably involved in the club at the time.
Packie, nice man down there. That nice, quiet fellas.
I have a video of that game that I haven't taken out of the box yet.
I'll leave it there, Packie.
It is X-rated, Packie. There's no doubt about that.
I looked out, and the first man to get hit was my own nephew.
Which nephew was that?
Stephen, Charlie Stephen.
Oh, Stephen, yeah, Stephen was a fine player.
That
was a good player.
When I seen get the batter.
Packie, you were involved. You played a big part in the Lifford club then when you moved over. And you were also you had a big input in county and county board level as well. You were selected for 3 different managers when you had around the late 70s.
I was there with first of all with John Hannigan, and then it was Brian McConnell, and then eventually Sean O'Donnell worked as the 3 of them. So it was an experience in itself, you know.
Yeah, you were involved into obviously the council level as well at that time, and development officer. Yeah, you were Mr. Video in the county.
Aye, that's right. That's a role we took on. I just felt that there wasn't enough archiving going on, and people are always looking back and saying, "I wonder is there any footage of this, footage of that?" And there was nothing, you know. So that was. I still feel it was a good decision. 1980 we started that, and
it was a fantastic. It was very far. You know, it was a lot of foresight involved, Packie, because it's only nowadays you look back in them games and it's, you know, really. It's just hugely important stuff, in fairness, you know.
It'll all be. I'm still archiving some of them. I'm trying to keep it up there on YouTube channel so people can go in and refer to it, you know, and it's be available to anybody who wants it, you know. And there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of old National League games and everything there that's all done. They were done too for training purposes, like if Brian McConnell for PG McGowan and all them would have got videos, you know, just for the training purposes and all that as well. But there's a lot of history there, and it's just amazing. Some of the games there, you know, I've put them myself for a long time, but I put them on there now and convert them. It's a very slow process, John, as you know yourself.
I know it is. I know it's a very slow process, changing them over to DVD and to JPEG, to movie files and so on.
That's right.
But it's a hugely important resource. So we benefit from it often. Thank you from your video archive, and it's great to be able to show the present generation of what things used to be like.
I have a lot of bits of Ard stuff, minor finals and different things. I must put it all down to. They can set it up games. You just could keep it there in the club.
Absolutely, yeah. We're changing over different stuff for the Centenary now, and it's great.
Right.
It's great to have an archive. A lot of it's your own stuff, obviously, but you put up a great clip there not so long since which showed a bit of the 1970 minor final against St. Michael's, I think. There was a clip of it there, which was a great bit of archive. There was maybe 3 minutes of
that's right.
As part of a bigger video, you know. But boys, we've a lot of talking done. We could stay here all day because there's such a treasure trove of information from the 2 years. Is there anything you would have changed looking back over your time, Patsy? How you look back obviously with fond memories. Is there anything you would have done differently, or?
No, I enjoyed every minute I played for Ard. Once I put on the Ard years, I was a happy man. I didn't worry about the county. Ard was the main one. That was it, you know.
Sure.
But Packie, the injury in Carrick and Shannon on the 21 final, you were doing it. Shan Dollar, Father Shan commented, and I was holding an umbrella with you.
That's right. That's right. Remembered well. He on the video even at a stage.
Top the 10 road.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That was a famous comedy by Father Sean, and he got very emotional. That video was great. It's a great video that to watch in the comedy itself.
Father Sean was brilliant, you know.
Aye, good one. I had one of them big black ESB coats for me.
Aye, as well.
Gee, right, a tight day. No, it
was a terrible day. It was a terrible day. I remember it well. It was a terrible day.
No, I'm plenty happy memories of that. I don't tell you the truth. Thank God. It's good to be still here. That's the main thing.
That's for sure, Packie.
All right, when you go back through the whole history of Ard, the wonderful tradition that goes way back there is something that carries any club forward, you know. And there's a lot of, I mean, it's just do your heart good to go through those photos that you're turning out, John, there. I know they're in the book and that sort of thing, but just referring to them again, bringing them up to the notice of, and bringing them up to date, so to speak, to like even ourselves, you know. That tradition that has been there all those years left you full of pride and you pulled on the Ard jersey. And you know, it's I think that the Ard people are very much like Donegal people away. You know the way, you know, the pride the Donegal people have in their county. You know, well, I think the Ard people has that in their parish, you know, as well. When no matter what part of the world they're in.
Yeah.
That's one of those teams and the stories.
You'll never let your club. You'll never let your club down.
No, you would not.
That's for sure, Patsy. Yeah, it's important. It's important, you know, that people. I know a lot of people in all clubs around the country are only involved. Maybe only get involved with their children or get involved in that kind of stuff. But obviously, one of the most important things for us to do this year is to for people to we might not be as strong as we were. But you know, for people to realise that you know we are one of the strongest clubs in the county, and we've had many great days, you know, and I just want to thank the two of you for contributing to that story. And
John, before you finish, just I want to say one wee thing. I was thinking about it last night. I remember the day your father took over in goals. You were chatting about Patsy being in goals there.
Right.
I remember the day your father took over in goals in Donegal town. I was only a kid now. My father and mother used to take me to the games. And we're playing St. Eunan's. In fact, I seen the match report there, that Des Houlihan thing. But not Fonzie, but Hughie Bennett was in goals. Hughie had the toothache that day, in terrible bad shape, but he played the first half anyway, and things didn't go well. Eunan's got a couple of handy goals, and your father was put into goals at half time. And he had a blinder in the second half, and I don't think he was ever taken out of goals after that, you know.
Aye, well, he did play in goals very often too, Packie, and as I say, I ended up in goals myself as well. Nothing I would remember too fondly, but and my own young fella's a goalie now too, so it must be obviously something in the bloodlines, you know. So
there you are. Well, you see, the young people remembers all these things as I was saying to you earlier. You know, it's involve the young people as much as you can. Give them the memories that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives.
That's right. Like it's probably the most important association in every parish, and as I say, it's important to talk about it and the things that went on and the people, and more importantly, the people that went on, because we have a fantastic facility down there now. But really and truly, you know, it's a combination of 100 years. It's not just 10 years or 20 years. It's been a long journey, and I want to thank the two of you for your part in it. And hopefully, when COVID is over, we get a chance to celebrate in person all together. And as I say, we'll see you soon and stay safe, lads. Thanks very much.
Thanks, John. Good one.
Packie. Good to see you again.
Good luck, Packie. All the best.
Take care.